How we doing? I am your host, Robert T. Gardner Jr., also known as Dr. Rob. Welcome to Station BOB, and let me tell you a little about thee. I am a kid from a Harlem hood who turned out good. I got educated like I should. Now I know how to help you grow to become the best of your being in life, love, and work. With that said, I am here to provide you with some clarity associated with the perplexity of the challenges in your life, love, and work. So, without further ado, let's get down on it. Enjoy the show. Yes. Welcome once again, my friend, to Station BOB, where you listen to learn how to become the best of your being in life, love, and work. And of course, I am your host, Dr. Rob. What is going on? I know it's been a minute since my last podcast. Can it be I stayed away too long? Did I leave your mind while I was gone? I just had to get that out. Pardon me. So anyway, how you doing? I'm doing just fine myself. I've been tied up. You know, I go by the name Dr. Rob because I'm actually a PhD candidate, as I have mentioned in previous podcasts. And so the workload has become just a tad bit heavier, which has gotten in the way of me being able to come on and do my podcast as frequently as I used to, or as I would like to. So, but Dr. Rob and Station BOB, we are not going anywhere. So I do recognize and apologize for my lack of content over the past several weeks or so. But nevertheless, I am here again with what I would call a top topic. And so pull up a seat, whatever you do. If you're jogging, turn down your Peloton. If you're driving, turn up the volume on your car. If you're walking, jogging, turn up the volume. Turn up the volume. Pump up the volume, as they used to say at the parties. Because today, I want to ask you, what do you do when your 13-year-old son falls for a transgender female that's really a male pedophile? Now, pardon me for if I misspeak on these different nouns and pronouns regarding, the LGBTQ community. That's not what this is about. This is not disrespect. This is not bashing. I'm talking about a real life experience so that hopefully you can learn from this with your children. And so I'm going to repeat that. What do you do when your 13-year-old son falls for a transgender female / male pedophile? Yep, I said it. Normally when I do a podcast, I like to provide advice, guidance, direction for you. But for this one, I may need some advice, guidance, and direction from you. Check this out. This past weekend, on the Hummer, my son fell asleep. My 13-year-old son fell asleep, and then while he's sleeping, my wife, managed to pry his cell phone, or as like she likes to say, her cell phone, out of his hands. And so, I'm kind of nodding off and just sleeping, chilling, and And the wife is scrolling the history of the phone and the activity just to see what's going on because, I'm glad she did this because what we found was very scary, disturbing, and in some ways unbelievable. And this is all about this social media. Even though I'm talking about a pedophile, transgender pedophile, the crux of the matter is how these people get through to our children by way of social media. And I just want to say that my son is a good kid. And all parents say that. My son's a good son. And then you see him on the news robbing the bodega or something. But no, in this case, my son is a good kid. And I wouldn't say that if that wasn't the case. But he is a typical 13-year-old child beginning to think he knows everything but doesn't know anything, other than how to take care of himself with a shower and brushing his teeth. And so, but he's starting to feel himself. And more often than not, sometimes he even steps out of line. As these teenagers, it has been my experience, as they get a little older, they tend to lean toward the disrespectful tip. But me and my wife, we tend to deal with the behavior the old-fashioned way that our parents dealt with us. We don't, dish out the whippings, but we have a no tolerance for disrespect. And I'm just giving you this little background just to, shed some light on who my son, is, as I know him to be. Then sometimes we may have to scream on them, when things happen all of a sudden to our surprise. And then, most of all, we try to work through their behavioral issues and mistakes by talking to them about their behavior, the lies, and the failure to accept responsibility for their transgressions. And so we like to give our children a chance to explain, themselves when things happen. And that helps us to process the situation. Now, I said all of that to say that that's what happened here. We get shocked by some social media information. And so we, provided our son with an opportunity to explain himself. So let's just get back to the cell phone issue. And I'll fill you in like that. So to our surprise, as my wife was scanning our son's cell phone, she started picking up some dialogue, between my son and a person that he talks to, or, on this online game. I can't even think of the name right now. I wish I knew the name of that doggone game. But my wife started to allude to the fact that it seemed like our son was, conversing in an intimate way with another teenager. With another teenager. And we thought, there was some, homosexual overtones, in the back and forth. But, B-U-T, it was way more than that. As my wife read more, she came across a photo that was sent to our son by, the photo, is intended by the sender to be of a young girl, 13, 14-year-old girl. But as we zeroed in on this cell phone pic, if you will, this person sent our son a picture of what looked like a male pulling down his, undershirt to cover his knees, as if he was a female trying to cover up, his vagina or panty line or something to that effect. And so he sent this image to our son that he was a girl, teasing our son, so to speak, with, his sexy nudity, if you will. However, we came across a second picture of this person while scrolling through the dialogue that this person was having with our son. And the second picture clearly showed that this was a male with long hair who was presenting himself as a female. But not only that, we could see also that he was a grown man with I don't know if he was a white male, and I'm not sure if he kind of covered himself with a big wig, or was that his or her real hair, if you will. And so from our take, it appears to be perhaps, a male transgender female pedophile. Now that's a lot. That's a lot right there. And I'm not even concerned whether or not I pronounced it correctly, but that's how powerful it is. And not only that, it appeared to be an older male, not a 13 or 14-year-old white girl, but a I don't know, an older white gentleman. Gentleman, check that. Not a gentleman. A perpetrator, if you will, on the naivete and the innocence of our child is just unspeakable. And so we're looking at this picture and we're blown away. We're shocked, blown away by this crazy scenario. So once again, now you see why I may need some advice from you, because I have no frame of reference for such an outlandish experience as a parent. I mean, I can't go back and say, when your sister did this or your brother did this, this is how I handle it. I don't have that frame of reference for this scenario. So we woke up our son to discuss this highly unusual matter that was scary, disappointing, and just totally hard to understand how our son could get mixed up in something like this with a pedophile. But he's 13 years old. What does he know? And so we, meaning my wife and myself, have to accept responsibility for, because we allowed our son and daughter to have unlimited access to their cell phones. And this is the result of a child spending too much time alone online. The more time they spend online, it seems that, with the going back and forth, playing these different games, seems to attract, as you are, I'm sure, well aware, these undesirable types, by friendly gameplay with children who turn out to be corresponding with adults who prey on children. So anywho, when we brought this situation to the attention of our son, we started to question him. But, as I said earlier, we like to allow our children to explain themselves, or as they used to say, you got some splaining to do. You feel me? And so when we come back on the other side of the break, we'll talk about what my son had to say about this situation.
Have you read any good books lately? Your host, Robert T. Gardner Jr., also known as Dr. Rob, is the author of 3 great books. In his first book, The Choices We Make, Robert takes a look at relationships to help readers learn how to have a good relationship with themselves before they can have good relationships with others. In his second book, Access Denied, Robert brings an eye-opening perspective about what happens to children and fathers when their relationships with the mothers of their children end on bad terms. Robert explores what he calls child porn, when a parent, usually the mother, uses a child as a weapon to hurt the other parent. Robert provides a Let Go lab in his book to help parents find positive ways to resolve their issues in the best interest of their children. Light Up Your Life is Robert's latest book. Robert writes about the fact that we are all born with a special God-given talent. Even though we are all born with a special talent, most of us miss our true calling. In this book, you will learn how to find your special talent and light up your life so that you can become the person you were born to be and live a more fulfilled, purpose-driven life. Books are available at barnesandnobles.com, amazon.com, and Robert's website, relationshipreadiness.org. Thank you, and back to the show.
All right, welcome back. And I just wanted to share, take a moment with you. I think this might be a time for, maybe to lighten up the moment with a little laughter, because I lived the life, I think my natural born talent is to be a comedian. So I like to lighten the show up with some corny dad jokes, if you will. So you let me know what you think about this joke. How do you make a tissue dance? Huh? You put a little boogie in it? What you think about that? Okay, I thought it was funny, but, that's a little mushy there with the little boogie in the tissue to make it dance. But that's what they call corny dad joke. So let's keep it moving. So getting back to the discussion, as I was saying, we brought this situation to the attention of our son. And, he just instantly became upset as he was trying to, try to process this and, figuring out what we know, because it might be something else on that doggone phone that we did not yet come across. So he's just spinning all over the place. So then we asked him, who Arcady was. Now, Arcady is the name of this pedophile goes by, okay? And so let me just continue on. So we asked our son, who was Arcady? And he said Arcady was his girlfriend. My wife and I, we're like, what? What girlfriend? You do not have a girlfriend, especially with somebody online you never met. I mean, what is going on here? So, yet, he insisted that this Arcady, I can't pronounce this pedophile perpetrating individual's name, Arcady, I believe, was his girlfriend. And then we asked him, well, where did this man live, if you know? And then he says, Las Vegas, of all places, Sin City. It's like, oh my God. So we asking my son, so how do you have a girlfriend in Vegas? And we live in the tri-state area on the East Coast. Then we told him that Arcady was a man, not a girl. As a matter of fact, he appears to be a transgender male to female and better known as a pedophile. And can you imagine? At first, our son, he did not believe us. And we asked him, now, he's at that age, the birds and the bees, what they call it, the flowers and the trees, okay? And so we asked him if he liked boys. And I was, happy to say that he gave us a robust hell no. And when you say hell no like that, there's some truth in that. I think there's a lot of truth in that because it was spontaneous and it was robust. He said, hell no. And that's the way I used to say hell to the no or hell to the nah. Okay? So we felt that was a good, strong, hell no, even though it was inappropriate for him to talk to us like that in that moment, but we appreciate the energy of his response, because this ain't the time for the other rules. This is the time to figure out what in God's name is going on here with our son and a pedophile, transgender. So we appreciated the energy of his response, to confirm that he was not gay. And that's good. And so there you have it. Our son left to his own devices to run amok online, unchecked by time limits and the supervision of his parents. Because, we all want our kids to be happy. So what do? We buy them all the things that lead to them being unhappy, because for the most part, they didn't earn any of it. And then for the other part, it doesn't make them happy. Okay? And sometimes I wonder, how do you make unhappy people happy? Well, it certainly is not by buying them lots of things that some of them they don't even want, nor do they need. And they have not even earned it, and that's why they don't appreciate it. The unhappiness of it all. And so again, there you have it. We left our son to his own devices to run amok online, no time limits. We just being good parents, I want our kids to be happy. I mean, who does not want their children to be happy? And who does not shower their kids with the things that they don't need, like a cell phone? Maybe today you do need a cell phone. I don't know the answers to all of these things. So now we have a limit to the cell phone time for school. In case of emergency, come home, turn in the cellie. You feel me? Deleting all of their social media apps, and we're going to have a set of preset rules and time limits for these cell phones. Oh my God. That's all I can say. Oh my God. So let this be a warning to you regarding cell phones and social media. These devices can be very dangerous and unsafe for our children. And I know that this is not breaking news. And I know that I may not be telling you anything new. The only thing new about this is that it happened to me, my wife, and our child. And so, of course, if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. And so this is just a gentle reminder, if you will, a public service announcement, if you will, especially, we should just be on top of this and not let our children go unchecked and unsupervised by us as parents. And again, my wife and I, we accept full responsibility for this. And hopefully we have eradicated Arcady 80, who ain't a lady. I don't know what Arcady 80 is, but no, I do. Arcady 80 is a perpetrator, a pedophile, online preying on innocent children. And Arcady 80, you need to know I don't appreciate that at all. Get some help, by golly. And so, like I said, if this can happen to my child, it can happen to yours too. But we hope that, my wife and I and our son learned a lesson from this. That the lesson for us is that we need to monitor these social media accounts and limit them to, Monopoly, chess, and checkers, if you will. Because these pedophiles are lurking to snatch our children into sex trafficking or other tragic life experiences engineered by those who live on the dark side of this wonderful life we live. I wish I could say more on this topic, but I'm going to leave it right here. I'm going to leave it right here, as I am, I'm glad I shared this with you, but I'm lost for words. And can you imagine that Dr. Rob is lost for words? So that just says I'm only human. So to that I say, stay up. Watch your youngins' cell phone, iPad, tablet activities. And thank you once again, my friend, for checking in with the one, the only Dr. Rob. Remember, life is good, even when it ain't. And love is not supposed to hurt. Until we meet again, my friend, thanks for walking with me, jogging with me, allowing me to show up with my voice in your car, on your headphones. Peace in the Middle East and Ukraine too. As we wrap up this show, I hope this topic helped you to grow. And now you know a little bit more than you knew before. If you have any questions about this topic, please email me at changeagentrtg@gmail.com. See my website, relationshipreadiness.org, to learn more about my counseling, consulting, and educational programs related to life, love, and work. Finally, in the words of the late, great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody he is traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. Until we meet again, do the right thing when nobody is looking. Peace, beloved.